Good morning, afternoon, evening, of course. This is Angels in Politics, or the Angels in Politics broadcast. Remember, you are the news. That means you, specifically the listener. And I'm the white collar goon, the creative and artistic manifestation, not the physical sense, nothing that you can touch. I am not something that is palpable. You can reach out to. But as far as the artistic and spiritual, emotional, social or sociological, psychological sense, then yes, I am very much the creative and artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics. I guess I wanted just to speak to you today about disbelief. Okay, disbelief in others, but having radical, relentless faith in yourself. All right, and those two go hand in hand, right? Having faith, of course, in a higher power, spiritual power, is what is needed for you to ascend to levels that can't really be articulated or conceptualized until you undergo a specific awakening process. If you have an imagination, well, let's just say this. If you're with children, or if you've spoken with children, they have these very, very strong and vivid imaginations to the point whereby they have no limits. There are no barriers. They are unencumbered, so to speak. So a child can be the astronaut, the superhero, the the individual who can walk on water and swim in the clouds and you know work on a spaceship and be a writer and the football player and the doctor, lawyer, and loving son and daughter all at the same time, right? The kid will tell you this because they know they literally can be that, and they believe that they can be the Transformer, they can be Wolverine, they can be Black Panther, Sailor Moon, Naruto, and uh, anything else that they want to be, any character from My Hero Academia. Like they can be all of that, right? And they're not limited. As we grow and we develop and we get more quote unquote realistic, we don't want to use that term because when you hear the term realistic, what people are saying are what they are really trying to mean is that it's realistic to them. Like they're trying to bring you down to surface level for what they have in their scope, in their mind frame. And when they are limited and they don't have an imagination, a magical imagination, they don't believe in the magic of thinking big, they don't believe in the laws of attraction, they don't believe in manifesting your reality, they don't believe in tapping into lucid dreaming and delving into your subconscious and navigating your dreams to unlock those fortunes, those treasures, those secrets that your body, that your spirit, your emotional spirit, your social spirit, your psychological spirit is really trying to tell you. A lot of these individuals don't believe in that, or they're not aware that it exists. So they may say, hey, be realistic. You can't do those things. It's not like you can be all of that. You need to pick a job. You need to stay in a job. You need to stay in this area. You need to stay in this relationship. You need to stay somewhere that is comfortable, that's stable, that's secure, because that's all we know, that's all we see, that's all we perceive, and that's what we know to be true. So it kind of scares people. It definitely scares people. Matter of fact, it intimidates people when they hear individuals like yourself that are superheroes in training. All right, you're a superhero that's cultivating their self. You're a superhero that is discovering, or you're a superhero that's on his or her path to discovering their true spiritual and magical gifts that will transcend them to that pyramid of self-actualization, and that will transcend or ascend them to being whatever it is that you want to be, your archetypal hero, your quintessential life, your your destiny. Once you start to understand that your gifts are within you, your fortune is within you, your treasure is within you, everything that you want, your billions, your trillions, your millions, whatever it is that you want. Somebody says, I don't even want that much money. Really, I just want to be comfortable. Really, I understand that life is about relationships, and I just want to be a better father. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better daughter. I want to be a better lover. I want to be a better mother. Um, this means you found the gift. This means you found understanding. This means instead of focusing on materialism, focus on superficial endeavors, superficial or materialistic items. You have understood that you needed to meditate, because meditation brought you clarity, brought you mindfulness, it brought you alignment, and through that meditation, you understood that you prayed for wisdom, not gold, not silver, not rubies, not pearls, but you prayed for wisdom, and with the wisdom, you understood that wealth was in abundance. Okay, so once you got to that point, then like I said before, you start to throw some people off. Some people can begin to be a bit taken aback by you. They probably want to stand away from you. Even your close friends, maybe even your family members, perhaps even your closest family members. The people who are closest to you bring you the most pain, bring you the most the people who are closest to you can bring you the most pleasure, bring you the most happiness, bring you the most joy. But in turn, because we know about life in this polarity, they can also bring you the most pain. They can also bring you the most stress, disappointment, disenchantment. So whenever you tell people that, hey, I'm stepping out on faith and I will start my own real estate corporation, I will be a multi-billionaire through real estate and through entrepreneurship and through business, some people will look at you, and these are your closest friends, your closest family members. They will say, listen, I'm not really fucking with that. I'm not here for that. I don't understand what that means. When you tell people that you will start your own yoga business, when you tell people that you will be a philanthropist and you will change the way that the world sees and visualizes dreams, some people will say, listen, dude, like, you need to, like, keep that to yourself. We're not fucking with it. We don't know what you're talking about. We don't really like that, because we have a normal job and we're, like, unhappy. We have a normal relationship, and my wife doesn't even, like, give me any play like that, and she kind of, like, makes me feel like shit. We go to work and we commute every day, and whilst we're in the car, we feel like, what the fuck am I doing here? So you need to be like that. That's really what normal is. That's realistic life. You know what you're talking about, I don't really know what that is, and honestly, they don't want to know, because right now, where am I? You might say, oh, you're in the whip. Well, yeah, but I'm in front of the lab. Somebody says, what is the lab? I'm in front of the library. All right. Somebody says, dude, who goes to the library? You're almost 30 years old. You're not even in school anymore. You're like, there is no test anymore. There's no quiz. There's no classwork. Why do you have book bags, and why are you reading voraciously, and why do you have pens and notepads and books, and you're going to the library for what, bro? For what, sister? What are you trying to do? So I'll go into disbelief. There was a time whereby, and this was, I would say 2013. I graduated from university in the yeah in May of 2013, and I didn't make it to Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Brooklyn in 2 months later, right? Because I was working for Macy's at the time. To make a short story short, I found my apartment via Craigslist, and I sent a few emails to potential, candidates or clients or whatever you would call these people who post their vacancies. And I didn't hear much, but there was like a cool ass flat that was in Crown Heights, that was, on Sterling Place, that was right across the street from Franklin Avenue, that has some really cool bars, really cool restaurants. It had been recently modified and upgraded through what they would classify as gentrification. But Cool places, nice restaurants. It had been cleaned up, and whenever I say gentrification, that means white people were living there. Uh, so yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but it looked like it was a really cool place. It was right across from Eastern Parkway, whereby I could take the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 train right into the city, right into downtown Brooklyn or deeper Brooklyn, and it was ideal. It was ideal in every sense of the word. So I get there. I move in with these guys who were really close to my age. Actually, they were my age. If I was 22, they were 23. And they had graduated school maybe 2012, whenever it was 2013 for me. So around the same age. One guy was Indian, the other guy was Jewish, but they knew each other prior to me getting there. They knew each other from university. Actually, they went to a very small private performing arts, or theater school. That's what it was. It was like a drama school or a theater college. Very intimate. I'm pretty sure very expensive. Actually, it was. I don't know the price of this, but very intimate. Very artistic. I would say very eclectic. But like I would say their graduating class may have been like less than 30 people. It was something like that. Like literally very small. But these guys were studying, performing arts. These guys were, studying to be actors and directors, and that's what they were in school for. They were thespians. That was the term, thespians. So I move in with these guys, and to touch on disbelief, the one of the individuals, the guy who was from Scarsdale, which is in Long Island. Well, his family was from there. He was from there. He went to the school in Winston-Salem with everybody else, but their whole class, the whole class of these less than 30 people, 20 odd people, all moved to New York together. Okay, they all moved to Brooklyn together. They all moved to New York City together because they were, of course, the thespians, the actors, the directors, and that was what the plan was after they graduated college. And I presume they had the means to do so because they went to this expensive, eclectic, small, very intimate college in Winston-Salem. When they met me, I was excited to meet these guys because it was completely different from where I grew up, or completely different from the people that I knew. Like I remember I had a homegirl that came to visit me, and she was like, "Gabe, your life is like fucking like the the play, like Rent. You are like living in a full life, like Broadway play, like fucking Rent. That's what your life is right now. The guy from Scarsdale was like working on an album, and he's downstairs with his piano and his music, and he's like writing music with the like with the musical notes, and he has the sheet, and he has the proper microphone, and he's singing like a motherfucker. Like, it wasn't like I'm in my bedroom with the door closed. Like, I'm talking, it was loud piano going, and he was working on his shit. The guy Sameep, who was the Indian guy, he was, like waking up in the morning, and he had his journal out, and he was journaling, and he was documenting, and he had ideas, and he he was going to different class, or he went to like the YMCA, and he taught different like Indian dances, and like it was an eclectic group in every sense of the word. It was an eclectic group. But to touch on disbelief, I don't know if they were in disbelief the fact that I was there, or the fact that I moved there simply from finding them on Craigslist, or I'm not sure what it was. But the guy Sameep, he would ask me, like, he asked me at least four times, how or why I was there. Like, I mean, he was happy that, I mean, somebody filled the vacancy because they needed somebody to pay the $1,000 rent for that room, because they had bought the duplex. It was a nice duplex, and somebody might say $1,000 rent. Just like, trust me, dude, you don't really know what the prices are. And well, that's what the prices are to live in New York. And that was like one room. That wasn't my whole flat. That wasn't my own. Everything going. That was for my room, and to live and share that space with other people. But he would he would ask me, like, in various ways. He was kind of like, I don't know if it was in a furtive way, or in some type of secretive way, or some passive aggressive way, but it would always come back around as to like, yo, how, like, why are you here? How did you get here? And I would tell him, I'm like, bro, I just graduated college. I have a job from Macy's. I'm employed, bro. Like I start my work is in July. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it was to me it was as normal as it could be. Like I like New York City. I've never been to New York. I mean, I had been before, but I was like, the dream or, the aspiration was to go where the movers and shakers are. I am a people person. I am an extrovert. I am what they call an extroverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving type. If you know anything about the Myers-Briggs archetype. So it's like, this is me. New York City is me. The fast pace is me. The hustle and bustle, that shit is me. So he just didn't really get it. But he would ask me again, like, so like, how are you here though? Like, so what, like, what brought you here? Like, so how did you get here? And instead of like turning up or kirking out on homeboy, I would just tell him again. I'm like, hey, I'm just working here. I'm just trying to make something out of my life. I'm just, I'm just fulfilling my manifesting my destiny. I'm fulfilling my dreams. I mean, living in New York was a dream, but it didn't really occur to me until now. And that's why I want to bring this to you, is because you're going to go on your path and you're going to step out on your journey. And within your journey, like, people are going to be kind of taken aback by it. Like whenever they see that you have stepped out on faith. And faith is the complete opposite of fear. When you have fear on one end of the polar of one end of the spectrum, faith is here. But you have to act on it, because once you've acted on fear, that means you have been paralyzed by it. Once you've acted on fear, that means you are like, yeah, you're stuck. You haven't done anything. You have been stymied by this fear. You have been paralyzed by fear. You have allowed fear to take over you, your consciousness, your spiritual body, your physical body, your emotional body, your psychological body, and you have prevented yourself from achieving anything now. You have now been encumbered. You have now been limited. There is a saying, one man's ceiling is another man's floor. You have put a ceiling on your motherfucking growth and development once you allow fear to take hold of you and you allow that to manifest. Once you go to the other side and you step out on faith, what happens is, even people who you thought were smart, people who you thought were competent, people who you thought were industrious, and they are, people who you thought who were intuitive, and they are, people who have college degrees, people who have all kinds of accolades that you might deem to be dignified, they will not believe what you are doing. They will not understand what that means to step out on faith. They will not be able to conceptualize, articulate, fathom, like, how are you doing these things and you're living like this? You're looking like this. You are presenting yourself in such a calm manner because you have put yourself in an uncomfortable, unpredictable, you don't know what the fuck is going to happen next environment. And that scares the bloody shit out of everybody. No, there's not too many people who will put themselves in positions and not know what's going to manifest or come of it, so they stay where they are at home. Like these guys who were performing their, who I thought were living their dreams the same way I was living my dreams. Yeah, they kind of were, but to a point. Meaning, if it wasn't for the full 20 fucking classmates, their colleagues, their friends who they spent all their time with in college, if they all didn't move up there together, that means they wouldn't have done it. Meaning, where I lived in Sterling Place and Crown Heights and on Franklin Avenue, like their best friends were like 2 blocks over, and then the next block over was another group of friends, and then there was another group of friends, and there was a time where I would go and hang out with them, and all of them would come together at one apartment, and they would sit there and play music and have the candlelight and talk about plays and talk about, playwrights and writers. And I was just like a fly on the wall, and I was just with my camera taking pictures because I was just, I fully immersed myself in it because I thought they were cool, man. Like, I mean, they were like nerds, and a lot of those guys were gay, but I mean, they were cool to me because, I mean, I didn't live with those guys. I didn't know about that lifestyle, and I never would have lived that lifestyle in Virginia or in college or in DC. So me being out there in New York where these guys were living, I thought, yo, you guys are doing it. But they couldn't believe me. They couldn't believe the fact that I was there because they were like, yo, who do you know? You don't have any friends here? You're not here with your family. You're living in a brand new apartment with us, and they couldn't believe it. And it's okay. It's okay, because that's what faith is. That's what stepping out is. That's what manifestation does. That's what having a system of synchronicity, a system of synthesis will do, because you will shapeshift. You will shapeshift, and you'll become a chameleon, and you'll be adaptable, and you'll be able to go into different environments, and people who look like you will they won't be used to it. People who look like you, that's why they were asking me. That's why, well, that guy, he was asking me, like, how did I get here? How would I be here? Because he had never met maybe a guy like me. And what does that mean? I don't even know. But he had never met I guess he told me he had never met a straight black guy. He had never met a black guy who would be traveling. Like, he had never met a person who would just leave his family and his upbringing to go to New York City. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's more people like me. But at the end of the day, maybe there aren't. Maybe there aren't a lot of people who have that level of faith. So you need to have crazy faith. You need to have next level faith. And I know there's a pastor, Michael Todd, who talks about that. But, like, you don't need to be a pastor to have that crazy level of faith. You don't need to be some minister. You don't need to be some pope or some tycoon or some, dignified dignitary, whatever, to be able to step out and do what you need to do to manifest your dreams. Do you understand what I'm saying? So have a belief in yourself, have an understanding, and trust yourself. Trust yourself and trust the process. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Good luck. God bless. And Godspeed.